Welcome back to another episode of Small Ball with Kenny Beecham. We are here to rank the vibes across the NBA, but before we do that, can we just talk a little bit of them Bears, man? I know it's a few days removed from the Bears winning on a 55, I don't even know how many are, touchdown play for between 18 and 2, but I'm still on cloud nine, man. This is something I've said before as a Chicago sports fan. We haven't had many good runs. We haven't had many good seasons as of recently. And right now, whether you believe in them or not, you have to tip your hat. This team is fun and finding ways to win football games. And boy, Caleb Williams. I don't give a damn about completion percentage. I don't give a damn about EPA per drop back. I know that guy can win football games, and he has. So he's doing good. The White Sox just signed the top Japanese player to the team. I didn't even know the White Sox were buyers this offseason. We were just trash for 2 years in a row. So I'm going to temper my expectations because every time I get really excited about something Chicago sports related, it blows up. But I will say, we looking good, man. We looking good. And I said every time the Bears win, I feel like I put together a banger of an episode for y'all. And today we are ranking vibes. Last year we did this episode, and I promise you on the YouTube side of things, all of the comments were about the way I was saying we were vibe raters. I had to slow that down. We are rating vibes, vibe raters. But if you say it fast enough, and like Kenny tripping, no, I'm not. It was an accident. Today we're ranking vibes across the NBA, and this is how I think about the vibes. You know, sometimes you can see a team be down on themselves. You can see the fan base, which a lot of this will be fan base centric. I won't lie to you, but you know the vibes. Today we got the 5 worst vibes and the 5 best vibes. And in my research, which is me watching basketball at the end of the day, because there's no statistics that are going to tell you about the vibe, I came to the realization that a lot of teams have good vibes, but not a lot of teams have great vibes. Even the teams that have been really good this season, there's maybe something in their fan base is like, the Minnesota Timberwolves just beat the OKC Thunder a few days ago, and you would say their vibes is an all-time high. But the reality is they still kind of need a point guard. And I think that a lot of Minnesota Timberwolves fans, even though they're feeling really good after a very quality win, they still recognize that once we get to a 7-game series versus some of the other juggernauts across basketball, we still need a floor setter. So the vibes are high, but maybe not top 5 high. They're still really good, though. So when I get to it, this is not any particular order. When I say they're top 5, just take it as top 5. Not that this is 1 and this is 2 or this is 3. I'm going to start off with the team that we kind of talked about a good amount over the last couple episodes because the San Antonio Spurs continue to do their thing. Actually, I may say that again, I'm not ranking, but if I were ranking, this probably would be number 1. Being competitive this early into, a young core is really, really great. Right? If you think about all of the young players, or all just players in general, when they're asked about their first time in the postseason, they tell you how much of a shift there really is and how experiencing that shift really changes the mindset and the preparation for the rest of their careers. So for Wemby to be year 3, Castro to be year 2, Harper to be year 1, and for them to not just get postseason run as of right now, I think after a loss from the Denver Nuggets yesterday, are they the 2 seed right now? Yeah. Them boys are the 2 seed in the season where Wembanyama has missed 12 games. You can't tell me that ain't great vibes. And when you talk about, of course we did have the NBA Cup final where our boy Wemby did get pushed around a little bit by some Karl Anthony Towns and some Mitchell Robinson, but everybody really truly believes that Wembanyama is in conversations to be top 5 in the league right now. So to have a top 5 player on a rookie scale contract, and then you have these other dudes who are like, I've always believed in Dylan Harper. Obviously, most people have. This is not like Kenny's hot take, Dylan Harper, good basketball player, because he was a 2nd overall pick in this year's draft. But he's been so good in spurts. Like, if you look at the numbers, the efficiency numbers are not good, but he's a rookie guard. Like, I don't expect any rookie guard to come in and be a 50, 40, 90 candidate. But he gives you these bursts of a 3-minute shift, a 5-minute shift. You're like, whoa, that guy legitimately is going to be one of the best guards in basketball. And the Spurs fans, and I've said Spurs, I've given up on the idea of mocking trades to get Giannis if he is available for y'all. I just don't want to do it. And Spurs fans said that to me earlier. It's like, yeah, if we do trade for Giannis and we had to throw in our boy Dylan Harper, I'm fearful of a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander Paul George trade thing, where you trade away this young promising prospect, he goes to his next team, and boom, he's MVP of the league. Boom, he's an all-NBA player. And I do believe that Dylan Harper has all-NBA player upside, so everything has been so great. Even getting down to some of the offseason signings where they gave the 3-year, $30 million contract to Luke Kornet, and Luke Kornet has been able to really hold it down. One of the unsung heroes because I didn't even recognize how important he was to this team. Keldon Johnson, man, and they lost in the cup. No, Keldon was going to use that money to buy a llama. But they did still get a couple $100K, so he probably could still afford. I don't know how much llamas cost, honestly. But Keldon Johnson has been heralded as one of their leaders in the locker, one of their vocal leaders. And then I did get a glimpse of that in their last game, where he was keep making sure people kept their heads up in their watch the Wizards game and everything. So vibes are extremely, extremely high. Are they contender? Are they not? The fact that it's even a conversation kind of showcased to you that the vibes are high. All right, next team with the highest vibes, again, in no particular order. I'm going to stick with the NBA Cup championship because the New York Knicks have great high vibes. I thought that last year's Knicks team was the best Knicks team I've ever seen in my object permanence as a human. You know, like the Knicks were good when I was first born, but like, you know what I'm saying? But as far as me knowing that when that door closed, there's still stuff behind it, that last year's team was the best Knicks team I've seen. And this year's Knicks team took that Knicks team and said, we're going to change our identity just a little bit. We're going to shift a little bit, and we're going to be even better than that one. Everybody feels really good. This is my favorite by far Josh Hart season of his career. And that's saying a lot because I've always loved me some Josh Hart. Even OG Anunoby, where the overall counter stats may not be as good as, you know, his last full season in Toronto, or it may not even be as good as last year where he averaged 18 points per game. I think this is his best season. And he's just a menace, a fire hydrant defensively all over the place, making plays for himself and all of the other things. This team has great vibes where Tyler Kolek, who had never scored 10 points in an NBA game before, went to the NBA Cup Finals, said, here go 14, 5, and 5. You know, they're doing great things. And I haven't even mentioned the head of the snake, Jalen Brunson, who without him, there is no great vibes. Without him taking that pay cut, there is no team that is an NBA contender. And he continues to show time and time again that even in these games when they become grinded out, in these games where they need a closer, one guy you can really count on is Jalen Brunson. When they fired Tom Thibodeau, I was one of the skeptics. I won't lie to you. Not because of me not believing in Mike Brown or anything. I just looked at what Tom Thibodeau did with that team, and Tom Thibodeau has always been a guy that's going to squeeze every win out of the rag. He's going to always try to get every single win. That's how you get to OG Anunoby playing as many minutes or all of these guys. And I'm like, how could there be a step up from this? And Mike Brown has said, hey, there is. This team is actually defending better under Mike Brown than they did under Tom Thibodeau with the same roster, with the same exact roster. They're more bought in than any time ever. Number two offense in the top 15 defense. That is the recipe for the New York Knicks to continue to be good. And I still think that there is some Karl-Anthony Towns juice that ain't been out yet. So I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. So we got the Spurs. We got the Knicks. The next team on my list will be the Boston Celtics. This is a found money season for the Boston Celtics, man. Before the year started, we knew that the Pacers and the Celtics, who had lost their star players in last year's playoffs, had a direction to take. They could try to continue to be competitive, recognizing that their ceiling is not championship anymore, or they can take a step back. The Pacers reacquired their pick from the Pelicans. The Celtics have their own pick for the first time in what feels like forever. So what will they do? The Pacers dealt with so many injuries that we're looking at them as like, oh, they're retaining their pick. They're going to have a top 10 pick in this year's draft, probably better for their organization. And the Celtics said, nah, we have Joe Mazzulla. Nah, we got all of these dudes. And even the fans that I know that are Celtics fans that were more in favor of the tank, the A.J. DeBonta tank, because he's such a big Celtics fan, even those guys who wanted the tank have looked at this season and say, it's okay. This Celtics roster and the way they've been playing recently is so likable. And I know some of y'all is going to be hard to really come to that realization because the Celtics are one of those teams that you love to hate. But this team has just been so fun. Jaylen Brown playing like a legitimate superstar. I don't give a damn about the assist and turnover ratio being 1. All right. It's a different kind of superstar. He's going to get you a bucket or two. Derek White, after being one of our most disappointing players of the season last month, has really got back on that horse and been looking like himself again. Jordan Walsh does not miss shots anymore and is defending at an all-defensive level. And Nemaz Queta is one of the best screen setters in defending fives and hoops. Talk to me, y'all. Between Luke Kornet and Nemaz Queta, you know, you can get a replacement level center with the Celtics and they can help him turn into somebody that's like a starter level guy. They've been doing pretty good over there. So found money season, now you got the little piece in the back of your brain that say, hey, Tatum might be coming back soon. And if he does come back soon, you look at the pieces that they have right now, you look at the Eastern Conference, and you say to yourself, why not us? Now that's great vibes. That is great, great vibes. When we come back, we got a few more teams with great vibes and a bunch of teams with bad vibes. Be sure to stay tuned. Jumping back into it with some of the great vibes across basketball. Now, I'll be honest with you. Those first three teams were so easy for me to say, hey, man, these teams are playing so amazingly. Boom, boom, boom. And I was like, how do I get that far without mentioning the number one seed in the Eastern Conference, Detroit Pistons? Detroit basketball is back, y'all. And the reason why their vibes are so high is because you know what it was like 2 years ago, the 20-something game losing streak, where Cade Cunningham says there's no way we're the 2 and whatever bad. And they kind of were 2 and whatever bad back then. That's when Killian Hayes was starting over Jay Ivey. I'll never forgive you for that, Monty Williams, by the way. And now they're sitting on the record of 22-6, the 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. Now, I recognize that things have kind of shifted since the early part of the season. We're early in the year. We were talking about Jalen Duren as an all-star, maybe a sneaky all-NBA start. Since then, it has fallen off a little bit, on the offensive side of the ball, where his numbers are continuing to drop. But I think that's okay, because their true identity has been under our boy JB, has been a defensive-oriented team. And right now, they're the best defensive team, not named the OKC Thunder. Where Jalen Duren may not be scoring as well as he was before, but the defense is still holding up. Isaiah Stewart's defense is still holding up. Asar Thompson's defense is still holding up. So I think there's a world where, because of the way the last, let's say, 10 or 15 games have gone on the offensive side of the things, that they may be more incentivized, I guess, to be more of a buyer when it comes to offensive talent for this deadline. It's yet to be seen. I don't know. I mean, I could see the alternate approach to Sam Presti and say, we're just going to sit back and see what we got. Either way, the team has great vibes. When you have a guy who is borderline top 10, I don't know exactly where you would have Cade Cunningham, and him being the closer that he is and the rest of the pieces fitting around him, I am still scared, even though, let me look these up, because last time I looked at these numbers, right? You think about the young, intriguing players not named Cade Cunningham on the Detroit Pistons. You think about Ron Holly, you think about Asar Thompson. And just in theory, those two guys should not be able to coexist on the ball, on the court together. And let me look at the numbers. The numbers are still exactly the way they were when I checked this 2.5 weeks ago, where Ron Holland and Asar Thompson have played only 143 minutes together. It makes sense to not use this lineup regularly for the reason I'm saying about the lack of offense, and that unit, those two guys on the court, the 5-man unit around them shoots 27% from 3. The lack of spacing is a problem, but the defense is so otherworldly. Oh my goodness. In that 140 minutes, they have a net rating of plus 18.6 with a defensive rating of 96.3. That's like, I don't know, 2005 Detroit Pistons defense with those two on the court. But the thing is, I'm trying to look at it, again, the vibes are immediately high, so I'm kind of sucks. I'm kind of spinning this in negative aspect, whatever. I think about Asar Thompson in the playoff series, especially if he's going to potentially play some minutes with Ron Holland, and watching and thinking about the way the New York Knicks guarded them last season in the postseason. I'm just a little bit more afraid of those type of lineups in the postseason, because it's not as though Asar Thompson is a one-to-one to his brother, where in that system over there in Houston, he can be a non-spacer and still find ways in the full court and still find ways in the half court to be effective on, or like screening and being on ball and cutting around the baseline and cutting from the wings of the court. You just don't see a lot of that from Asar Thompson. And he's also not the passer that his brother is. So when you do put the ball in his hands, it's not like he's going to make some of the plays. So I'm just a little bit weary of that. But the team, the vibes, happy elite. This 5th spot was really tough. So let me give you some honorable mention vibes teams. Are we ready for these honorable mention vibes teams? Obviously, OKC. They lost 2 of their last 3. Whoop-de-doo. The vibes are still amazing. I feel like it would have just been a cop-out to me to be like, yeah, the best team in the league by a wide margin has best vibes. Yeah. We know that. They, even though their normal star lineup is 0-2 together, that's kind of nuts to me. Still vibes are amazing. I think the Lakers vibes are good, like to really good to not amazing, but like really good, with them being a team that sometimes you watch them be like, no shot. They don't defend nothing, and then they have a 3-minute stretch where they're the best defensive team of all time and they win basketball games. So the vibes are high there. And I think that though this team is 7-22, I can't believe I'm saying this. Though this team is 7-22, as of today, as I record this episode, the vibes in New Orleans are actually goated. Joe Dumars, did he cook? No, not yet. Not yet. Not yet. I guess only time will tell. But the team has been playing well. Zion's been coming off the bench and like actually looking pretty good. The team's been closing lineups. All I'm saying is that it's not top 5 vibes. But I did mention those numbers on the board 2 weeks ago when they lost the game against the Spurs. That might have been the beginning of December. That team that at that point was, I don't know, 2-18 was not as bad as the record shows. And now that they're starting to string together wins, I feel validated in that take. But the last team I had in the top 5 when it comes to vibes is the Philadelphia 76ers. Hold on. Let me explain. If I would have told you that there are 3 max players, Tyrese Maxey, Paul George, and Joel Embiid, have only played 36 minutes together in a matter of, let's do some quick math, in a matter of 27 games. They have 36 minutes together. Before the season started, if I told you that, you'd probably like, oh, they're the 12th seed or something. No, they're like in there right now. Now, it's all jumbled up where if they go on a 2-game losing streak, they're the 9th seed. But right now, as I'm recording this episode, they are the 4th seed with that stuff. And the reason why I think they're top 5 is because I don't know a single person that truly had expectations for the 76ers this season. It's so much different when your team is decent with no expectations. If you're decent with expectations, oh, the vibes are bad. I'm going to talk about a team later in the episode that are decent right now, but had real expectations. I feel like these last couple of years of the 76ers, some of us came into the season like, hey, man, sneaky team. Paul George on the team. This is a sneaky team. Tyrese Maxey on the team. Joel Embiid. This is a sneaky team to go on a run. And then they disappoint. So the vibes are never great. But now that you have these young players where the lineups of Jared McCain, Tyrese Maxey, and VJ Edgecombe is a limited amount of minutes. Been looking pretty damn good. Just watched the game the other day against the Dallas Mavericks, and I was really impressed with that lineup. So you kind of, similar to like the Celtics, kind of like a found money season. Joel Embiid has played, 12 games, and I feel like only one of them he looked like himself for a full 4-quarter stretch. And they're still a good basketball team. The vibes are high. And I don't know if I've ever said that about a Philadelphia team. Ever. Off a Super Bowl, I didn't feel like the vibes. Nah, let me chill. Shout out to the Eagles. But no, the vibes are pretty high. Again, I don't even know that the 76ers fans that I follow on Twitter, because I don't have them in my personal life, even though they're playing well, I still don't think they have any expectations, right? I think they're like, just get into the playoffs and see what happens. And I kind of agree with that, right? He had his game against the Pacers, and I'm talking about Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid has his game against the Pacers. And you see glimmers of like the guy that was the most points per minute since Wilt Chamberlain, whatever the hell the stat was. And if we can just continue to be good right now and keep Joel Embiid relatively healthy for April, then who knows? And that don't sound too crazy, right? Would I bet money on it? Hell no. But that don't sound too crazy, do it? So the vibes are hot. Those are my top 5. Let's transition over to the lowest vibes, the worst vibes in the NBA right now, because it's a few teams. It was so much easier to put together a low vibes team than the high vibes team. Starting off in no particular order, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Last episode, I gave you the historical data, if you will, of the last 6 seasons of how 5 of those 6 championships finals that we've seen, one of the teams that were in the finals had a really poor first 20 to 25 games between Dallas, between the Celtics, between Miami, between the Milwaukee Bucks. Like it goes on and on. So I gave you historical instances where teams have started off like this and still found a way to be okay. Since then, the Cleveland Cavaliers lost 2 games to the Chicago Bulls. And losing to the Chicago Bulls is like, I don't know, the reddest alert that can happen. Because that team is not good. I know the 5-0 start was cool. That team is not good. And the vibes are at all-time low for a team that came in and us thinking that they were going to be one of the top 2 seeds in the conference and for them to be an NBA championship contender. I still have the door open about 5% of the way, enough where you could slip a piece of paper between the door and the lock that says we are champs. But it's close to close completely. And when Donovan Mitchell says, I can't have a bad game, and we say, yeah, he's kind of right, that's scary. Because this team has enough talent, even through injury, they have enough talent to beat up on teams that are bad, right? And some of the games as of recent, that talent has not showed itself. I feel bad for Lonzo Ball, bro. He's never been a guy, or not never, he has not been a guy since coming back from his injury that looked at the basket. This is a whole nother version of him, where he's under the basket with the ball and saying no on some Ben Simmons when Trae Young guarded him type of stuff. And then he had a shot in the Bulls game, the second Bulls game, where he's in the left corner and he shot it. and it hit the top corner of the backboard. My boy can't shoot no more. It's kind of sad. When we come back, we'll talk about some other teams with really low vibes. I got 4 more for you. Stay tuned. Before we go any further, I'm going to say thank you to our sponsor over at DraftKings. You may know all about DraftKings Pick 6 by now. You can pick more or less on different player stats for the upcoming games. Just pick 2 or more different plays until your pick set, go more or less on some stats, and sit back and relax and see if you made the right decision. Put together a little thing the other day, right? You know, DraftKings say, Kenny, we need you to put together this pick set. I need you to tweet it out, yada, yada, yada. And I was thinking to myself, I kind of like the idea of just a 2-man pick set. Now, do what you please, play responsibly, always. But I like the idea of a little 2-person thing. And in that one, I went with, Alex Sarr's more on points. That hit. And I went more on Derek Queen's points. That also hit. And I'm like, Then I found my own personal recipe. Again, do what you want, play as you please, and please be safe. But I was thinking to myself, is that my recipe? So today will be my last time experimenting with a longer pick set. But this is how we're going to do it. I'm calling this pick set, because y'all know I got to do themes around here on numbers on the board, on small ball. My rookie rated pick set, where everybody in this pick set is a rookie. This class has been elite. Starting off with the first pick of my pick set, right? The Charlotte Hornets are going against that Cavs team that I just talked about a few minutes ago. And again, that Cavs team is not very good. With Donovan Mitchell play, I don't really know at this point. But one guy that has looked really good is Knippel. I was watching their game the other night in a game that they lost to the Detroit Pistons. And Knippel hit a 3-pointer in the first quarter. And their announcer says, Knippel now up to second in the NBA in total made threes. That guy's a rookie. He's second in the NBA, only behind, you can guess who, the 3-point shooter, the greatest ever. But he's number 2. So what I'm doing for this pick set, I think that high hand is going to stay. I'm going more on his 3-pointers. The Cavs, again, have been wishy-washy defensively. No Evan Mobley over there. Not great wing defenders either this point of the season. I think that Knippel can get a bunch of 3-pointers up. That kind of has been their identity over there in Charlotte for a little bit of time now. You saw that when they set the record or tied the record for most 3-pointers in a half. I think Knippel continues to do the thing. This is the game of the night for me, by the way, the next one I'm talking about. Because we do have 2 of the other top 3 rookies of this class, Cooper Flagg and the Dallas Mavericks, going against Derek Queen and the New Orleans Pelicans. So like I said, this is a rookie-rated pick set. Cooper Flagg has averaged, 28 points per game in his last 10 while basically not hitting a single 3-pointer? Let me say that again. 28 points in his last 10 without hitting threes. So if ever he decides that he can get that jump shot going from 3, my goodness. There was an executive that said, man, if Cooper Flagg was in the 2026 draft, he's not even going top 10. But he was an anonymous guy. And, anonymous people just be talking. I'm going more on Cooper Flagg's points in this game versus the Pelicans. I think that him and Derek Queen are going to feel really, passionate about this game, really amped up. We just saw it the other day where Cooper Flagg played against VJ Edgecombe, where both of those guys really went out there and wanted to show why they would potentially be the best rookie in the class. I'm going more on Cooper Flagg's points. And then when it comes to Derek Queen, he's kind of all over the place in the best way, where sometimes I'm like, I like those points, just like a couple nights ago when I put him in my pick set. Sometimes I really like the rebounds. Sometimes I like the assists. Today, I'm saying more on his assists versus the Dallas Mavericks. Now, the Mavs I found have been pretty good at defense, specifically when it goes against other 4s and 5s. So that's why I'm kind of staying away from the points from Derek Queen. So that's why I'm going with the assists, because I think he could dish them off, throw great passes here there. Last person in my pick set is another rookie. And this is where things get kind of dangerous, if you ask me. Because the Grizzlies are playing against the OKC Thunder. Little rule of thumb I usually have, but again, I'm experimenting today. Don't put nobody in your picks if they're going against OKC. But I will today, for the sake of the challenge, the rookie-rated challenge. Cedric Howard, I'm going more. I mean, more on his points versus OKC. Though there has been so many great rookies in this class, Cedric Howard has been my favorite since the moment I watched his tape, the 6 games that he played in college. I wanted him to fall number 11. He went number 10. Okay, I'll never get over that. But I've been in love with his game, his maturity, his professionalism on the court and off the court. I'm going more on his points versus the OKC Thunder. So quick recap, more on 3-pointers for Knippel, more on points for Cooper Flagg, more on assists for Derek I almost said Derek Harper on Derek Queen. And lastly, more on points for Cedric Coward. When we come back, we will get back to the worst vibes in all of basketball. For those who haven't checked out DraftKings Pick 6 yet, there's an exclusive offer waiting for you. Right now, new DraftKings customers can play $5 and get $50 in Pick 6 credits. All you have to do is download the Pick 6 app and use promo code ENJOY when you sign up. Pick 6 is available in most states, including Texas, California, Missouri, so don't be afraid to get in on the action. Ride the upside with Pick 6. So if you're going through the Cavs, the next team on my list is the Clippers. Now, the Clippers did a game against the Lakers. Shout out to them, but like that don't really mean anything. They came into the season, people believe them to be contenders, and right now they're the 13th seed in the Western Conference with a 7-21 record. But like I mentioned, one game streak. Shout out to the LA Clippers. This has been the season from hell. I think it's Ben Simmons that always says there's one team that's a season for hell every single year in every single sport. Undoubtedly has to be this team. From the offseason, where you had the aspiration things, from the regular season, where they started off so very poor, to them sending Chris Paul home. And I feel like every 3 days it's a new piece to that story. Oh, it's Chris Paul threw a Halloween party and nobody showed up. He threw a Halloween party and nobody showed up. I swear to you, bro, if I threw a Halloween party for the Enjoy basketball team and nobody showed up, I'm not showing up to work myself the next day or the day after that. Because y'all not going to disrespect me. I done bought these cupcakes, and I can't even eat the cupcake. I can't eat dairy, but I bought cupcakes for y'all. And Chris Paul's in that too. He's vegan. He probably had the normal cupcakes for them. So the vibes are an all-time low over there. Again, they got to win. And you know what? I made a tweet where I was like, tell me the player that is relatively realistic, right? Or something along the lines that your team could acquire that you want to see your team acquire. And I saw a lot of teams say, man, give us Big Zoo. I saw not Lakers fans. I saw Pacers fans. I saw it was Pacers fans. It was Celtics fans. I saw Warriors fans. I'm like, The Warriors are also on my list. Spoiler alert. I'm going to talk about them next. And I'm like, do I need to load up the trade machine? I did. It didn't work. But in my mind, it was a whirl, and I think it was AP Hoops that put it into my mind. Shout out to him. He's a Clippers fan. He was like, I'm trading Zubats away to the Warriors, if I could get some picks from the 2030s, the post-Steph Curry era. Because do you trust Mike Dunleavy to put together a really good team post-Steph Curry? Hell, he can't put together a really good team in the Steph Curry era. So I'm like, yeah, would I trade away Big Zoo if I got picks back from the Warriors post-Steph Curry? That's interesting. I couldn't put together the trade, though. The money is weird because second neighbor teams, yada, yada, yada. Somebody very smarter than I am, would be able to make that trade. I couldn't do it. But it made me think. But the Clippers do have bad vibes, so much so that I guess that James Harden could potentially be on the move. And I think that if James Harden's on the move, that you kind of have to open the door for Kawhi. What teams be interested? I don't really know. That's one of my sneaky, he's traded out of nowhere type of guys, Kawhi Leonard. And the team that made the most sense to me on paper, and again, this is literally just on paper, would be a team like the one-seeded Detroit Pistons. I mentioned how their lack of offense outside of Kate Cunningham could be scary to me come postseason. Kawhi Leonard, though he is an injury risk, as you know, would be an interesting fit there. It's just a matter of what his value is. You don't want to give up too much for him because of the injury risk. But like, if you're trying to tell me I'm the Pistons, I can trade away Jay Nivey, Tobias Harris, whatever salary fill is necessary that's not part of the true core and like a pick. I feel like you should be able to do that trade. That's me saying that without off the top of my knowing what the Kawhi Leonard contract is. Maybe you don't even want this extra money. But like if Kawhi Leonard's available, I think that's a sneaky, interesting dude. And maybe it could be 2.0 where he gets another lightning in the bottle. I'm healthy this season and I win another championship type of thing. But now as a co-star versus the number one guy. Anyway, Clippers, bad vibes, bad vibes, bad vibes. Next team on the list, again, I mentioned it. It is the Golden State Warriors. They did get a win the other night versus a really solid Phoenix Suns team. You got to tip your hat to that one. Can I think I've said this before. Draymond Green, when it comes to the basketball player, I especially in his prime. Let's talk about the prime. I thoroughly enjoyed Draymond Green as a ball player. Even now, he gives you those moments of brilliance on defense and even on offense as a passer and so on. I feel as though the on-court product has not been worth the other antics. And I'll just leave it at that. He's past the prime thing. The other day I watched him play a game. He had 8 goddamn turnovers. I'm like, Draymond, bro, I know this what you do. You try to make the tough pass because the tough pass can lead to a nice bucket. But at some point, the offense in itself, the whole Warriors offense, cannot account for all of the turnovers. Back in the Steph Curry prime, when they had all of these dudes between Klay Thompson and Steph Curry, even when you add in Kevin Durant, you can offset having a lot of turnovers because the offense was so damn good in the possessions where you did not turn the ball over. Now we're at the point now, the game they lost the other night, I'm off the top of my mind, I cannot remember who it was against. It was a game where they lost like 98-99 or something. It was something like that, really low scoring game. In that game, the opposing team had 30 points off turnovers. 30. A third of that team's points came because you couldn't protect the ball. I'm not talking Draymond. I'm just talking team in general. And I can't help to, every time I look at this Warriors team and I talk about the Warriors, to bring up the fact that Steph Curry said, I don't want my career to end in Kobe's way, where Kobe was still really good, but on bad teams. And we just watched it because it was Kobe. I want to stay competitive. And this team is not that. They're even with their win last night, they're still below 500. This is a sub 500 team. That's nuts to me, man. The vibes cannot be high over there. And though Jimmy Butler has put together a couple games as of recent, I love me some Jimmy Butler. He's one of my 10 favorite players of all time. Like, it's not even, he's in that top 10. He may be in the top 5 if I'm being honest with you. There are so many times where I watch Jimmy and I say, bro, please just go. Do it. Stop passing out of if you're going to get the post touch, stop passing out of the post touch. That's a small on you. Go to work. The games where you end up with 11 shots total, and let's say 13 shots because he got to the foul line 3 different times. It's just not enough for what the team needs. And don't get me started on the young guys that's young and not showing no promise. Will Richard came into the game yesterday and gave him a little 20 ball in 19 minutes. He looked better than all of the other real young prospects that they've been invested in combined. Will Richard or Pods, who would you rather have? Damn it, I think a lot of people probably say Will Richard, and he was just getting DMPs for whatever reason, Steve Kerr. I'm so confused. The vibes cannot be high over there. 2 more teams. I feel bad for picking on this team because I think there's only been 1 year of my life where this team has had good vibes. The Sacramento Kings. They are now the 15th seed in the conference, but maybe low-key by design. They do own their own first-round pick this season, so hey, they might get AJ DeBonta, Cam Booz, or the other Peterson guy. But no, the vibes are pretty low over there. The only saving grace is that a few of their younger guys have looked really good, like Maxime Reynard, and then the other big fella, Caldwell. Has he looked good on the court? Couldn't tell you. I just know I got 1,000 gifts of him being hype after getting fouled. Enough. Somebody that plays with passion? Enough. Sign me up for this team. I mean, I think one of the reasons why they are on this list right now, it's not just because of the record. It's like not knowing the right way out under this management group, under this ownership group. Because the easy solution is we just trade everybody for pennies on the dollar. Anybody that wants DeMar DeRozan, take him. Anybody that wants Sabonis, take him. We have all of our own first-round picks for the foreseeable future. I think at 2031, the Spurs have the right to switch. But other than that, we have our own picks and maybe a couple more from other teams. You would just say, wash your hands, start the rebuild. But I don't know if I can trust this front office and this ownership group to successfully do a rebuild. The one time they successfully did a rebuild, it only lasted 1 season, and they traded away De'Aaron Fox for nothing. So I think that in order for fans to really feel good, I think Vivek has to sell the goddamn team. How many times can your team be the laughing stock of the NBA before you recognize, like, yeah, maybe this ownership stuff not for me? You already got the bag. Just get out of it. Just get out of it. You can still be a Kings super fan and maybe even still be involved as Mark Cuban without being a majority owner of the team. Vivek has to sell, bro. He has to sell, and he never will, I don't think. That's the unfortunate part for Kings fans. And last one, when it comes to the vibes being low, is the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks, this moment in time, are 3-10 or 3-7 in the last 10, 2-game losing streak. One of these games, they put up 60 or 80 points against a really, really bad team. I forget. It was a bad team. Just trust me when I tell you that. They put up 80 points. And them having bad vibes is definitely on court stuff as well. But it's so many rumors circulating their guy that it's, they put up 82 points against the Nets. That's what it was. When you have so many rumors around your guy, the best player in your franchise history, it's hard to have good vibes, right? Whether the rumors are true, whether it's just a Shams thing, whether it's just a Giannis thing, regardless, it's impossible for you to load up a Milwaukee Bucks game without that being in the back of your head as a Bucks fan. Will we get to see our best guy be here for the next 3 years or so? And I just say Giannis is another one of my favorites. That's my boy. Shout out to him. Keep sending those PR packs. We love you. The answers in the media are just always 1 foot in and 1 foot out, and just keeps the door open. And maybe that's his goal, but in my mind, if you want to go, you want to go. And just saying you want to go should probably be good enough. But when you have this 1 foot in, 1 foot out, it gets to the point where now Bucks fans are defending you as a talent on this team, and maybe you don't even want to be on the team anymore. So the vibes aren't good. Just aren't good. And then he's going to be off for some time, and the team might not be good enough to make it worth him staying around. When we come back, I'll answer your questions in our favorite segment, Ask KB. All you got to do is hit us up on Twitter or on Instagram with the hashtag AskKB, and I'll try my very best to answer your questions. What do we have first?
What does Trae Young have to do to stop this discourse about him being a negative asset around the league and about him supposedly being on the trade block?
The reality is, it's not much he can do to stop that. There's not that much he can do. He's only played with 1 game since being back. I guess 2 games because they're going against the Bulls. And the reality is, if Trae Young cannot adjust his game, and I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm giving him more time. I can't look at his first game versus the Hornets, in which they lost, and the Hornets attacked him in every single possession. I can't look at that and say, yup, Trae Young now. I think I just need a little bit more sample size, because though this Hawks team without him was so surprising, Jalen Johnson's an all-star, and Alexander Walker was doing this, and Congo hit all his threes, yada, yada. They're still very far away from being a top echelon team, and I think the thing that can bridge that is if Trae Young can be good. Now, I think he can be good without having his usage rate that he normally has, without it being a heavy, high pick and roll spam team. And if I'm going to give him any credit, is that in that first game back in his limited amount of minutes, it wasn't the Trae Young show. Of course, he got his possessions because he's still talented enough to do that, but it felt as though he was trying to fit more into what they were doing, and I think that is an absolute win. The reality of the situation is, him being as bad of a defender as it is, based on his positional size and everything, it's never going to account for his offense, at least at this point. In 2021, it did. It was okay. He was one of the best offensive systems. And now you seeing his numbers as far as his efficiency drop, where it's like, ooh, it's not good enough. And he's always going to be in the trade rumors, specifically for the Atlanta Hawks, because he is eligible for a contract extension and they could not come to terms. So the natural progression of all of that is a guy that's going into one of his last year of his contract, can't come up with a contract extension. Maybe he needs to go to another team that would give him the money that he deserves, or the money that he wants. So it would take a lot, if I'm being honest with you. It would take a lot. But I still think that there's a way for Trae Young to still be that guy. Oh, well, I'm looking at their box score as they're playing against the Chicago Bulls, and they're down by 12 to the Bulls right now already. So, hey, I don't know how the game's going to win, but you never want to be down to the Bulls ever. They do blow leads, though. So give him more time. But it will be really hard for him to get out of that. I'm being honest with you. The reality is, though, him getting traded feels like a less of a likelihood as well, because teams either have their real point guard of the now and or the future, or teams will probably be scared away from Trae Young and his play style without seeing a good enough sample size to feel like he can adjust. So he probably won't even get traded, even though he will be in a lot of trade rumors. It's a very interesting conversation and phenomenon. The next question comes from my boy Nutter 331. That his last name is Nutter, y'all. That's legitimately his last name, if I'm not mistaken. Let's say hypothetically Denver loses in the Western Conference Finals. Instead of running it back, the front office wants to be buyers in the offseason. They will have 2 tradable first-round picks, bigger contracts, and a couple young pieces. If you were in the front office, who would you pair with Jokic? Yeah, brother. We did an episode of Numbers on the Board where we were ranking jobs, right, in the NBA. If all 30 jobs were available as a general manager, which jobs would you like to take and which jobs would you stay away from? And one of the last teams on that list was the Nuggets. Not because of lack of talent, like some of the teams around them in that last tier, but because we can't figure out what the hell you do next. In the hypothetical world, if they lose in the conference finals or the second round, I would be frozen in that GM spot. I truly would be frozen, because I thought that the best thing they could have done was what they did do and trade for Cam Johnson. And Cam Johnson slowly found his rhythm. He's not averaging 25 points per game like Michael Porter Jr. over in Brooklyn, but he has found his rhythm. He's back up to 40% from three-point shooting, even though he missed that layup on the full court pass 24 hours after he was on the Zach Lowe's pod, and he said, I've never done that. Anyway, I would be frozen in time. Because when you have a guy like Nikola Jokic, the best player in the league, or one of the best players in the league, depending on how you view the league as of today, you feel obligated to continue to buy. And I would try to do that. But you've seen teams' windows close like this if you buy on the wrong player. The Lakers won a championship. The next year had a really successful season given all of their injuries. They made the trade for Russell Westbrook and their window closed like that. And in real time, I would say 80% of NBA fans said that's a really good get. The Lakers just had a season where everybody was injured. Russell Westbrook is never injured and he's always going to help you be good. And that was the worst pairing ever. And it closed that LeBron James, Anthony Davis window of the Lakers. If you are the owner of the guy making the decision for the Nuggets, you make the wrong decision and that window can close. So get me away from that job, Jay Nutter. I don't want to be the guy to make the decision. But what I will do is I will critique it. Hell yeah. Whoever does make the decision, I'm going to tell you if you're winning or losing that trade. And guess what? I'm probably going to be wrong, but I'm going to do it. The next question comes from XO3U2. Who says, what is your top 5 highlight reels all time across any sport? What a question, man. I love it. Honestly speaking, I don't know much highlight reels outside of the game of basketball. The only one I know, and it is on my list, is that Tavon Austin mixtape, man, from back when he was in college, bro. I'm not a college football guy. I never really have been, but I remember as a kid, that came out, oh my goodness, I wasn't even a kid. That came out like 12 seasons ago, or 12 years ago. Dang. I remember seeing it and getting hyped, like, oh, that guy gonna be a stud. I don't know what he did in the NFL. I know he was not a stud, though. I feel like I remember what team he was on in the NFL if he was a stud, but he wasn't. But that mixtape was so goated. The music, the cutting, it was prime mixtape era hoops, or NFL hoops, college football hoops. You get what I'm saying? Now let's get to the ones that are NBA related or basketball related, because that's what I know. My favorite hoop mixtape of all time is John Wall. Him, Austin Rivers didn't make my top 10. I'm sorry, Austin. I know we like this, kind of, because we talked one or two times at that meeting. He didn't make the list, but John Wall was number one. I remember watching that for the first time in grandma's living room. She had a computer in the corner, and it was like you couldn't do nothing nefarious, which it was like I was trying to, but it was the screen of the TV is facing the entire living room, so everybody would see what you were doing. So I remember putting on the John Wall thing and getting, man, that was when I found out who Big Sean was. Not related, but like, my 2 memories is watching John Wall at that computer and listening to Big Sean Lemonade. Next, we had Zion Williamson. Now, at this point in time, I'm like a full-ass adult watching rookie or like high school Zion. Still loved it. I think I had a Photoshop picture of Zion in a Bulls jersey for like a year and a half as my desktop. This is pre-kids. Now my kids are on the desktop and the profile picture of everything. But like back then, I ain't had no kids. So I was like, yeah, who's the guy that we want? Boom. I don't want to put him in the number 1, but if he's that good, we could put him in the number 1. He had him in the Bulls. Now that mixtape was elite. Next one, this is an unconventional one because it may not be one that I can really pinpoint. But if you go back and watch the highlights of 2018 LeBron James, which is something I just did recently, so maybe this is recency bias getting into this. The way it stems from is I was listening to Mind the Game, and LeBron said, I think the perfect version of myself was 2018. And in my mind, I'm like, yeah, obviously 2018 Bron was amazing, but was that really the most complete version of him? And I'm go back and like, oh yeah, Bron spit. Like he's hitting shots, he's getting to the basket, he's hitting game winners, he's doing everything. So go back, just type in 2018 LeBron on YouTube, watch every video, all of them. And you're gonna be like, golly, this is the peak of male athleticism, bro. The man was absolutely cooking. The last one I got is Seventh Woods. Don't ask me anything about Seventh Woods. Greg is saying Dennis Smith Jr. I remember the Dennis Smith Jr. mixtape, but I can't tell you a single highlight from it. All these other ones, I see it. I see it in my mind. I remember what Seventh Woods was doing and John Wall and Tavon Austin. That's a great question. Thank you so much. It made me really think about some players that I ain't thought about in a very long time. All right, next question we got from Logan. Since Christmas is around the corner, what was your favorite present you received as a kid? My dad had always made Christmas big for me and my siblings. It's so amazing. I had a few years where like I got a big ass TV and I'm just thinking about what I can plug my Xbox up into it. But the gift that is the most memorable, I was 9 years old, y'all. I opened up all of my gifts at my dad's house and I'm like, yeah, man, Pop's spaz. Man, I got a WWE ring. I got this, I got that. And he said, I got one more gift for you, but you got to come into the garage. Ain't no way he got me a car, right? Bro, I go into the garage. My dad got me a full mini motorcycle at 9 years old. I have always been a guy with high anxiety, even at 9 years old. I was so afraid of that damn motorcycle, but I loved it. I absolutely loved it. So Pops always cooked. And now, me being almost 30, you couldn't pay me $1 million to sit on a motorcycle. It ain't got to be moving. I'm staying away from motorcycles 100% of the time. But as a 9-year-old from my Pops, that motorcycle was elite. Shout out to Pops. When we come back, more small ball. Before we get out of here, let's talk about what's going on this week in basketball. Last week was a little bit weird, right? Because we did have it where the NBA Cup was in there. So we had a bunch of games, or had one game on a night or 2 games on a night. And that just felt weird. Now we're back in the full swing of things. Obviously, this is Christmas week. So we do have Christmas Day games on this Thursday, and I can't wait for it. But Monday, I want to remind you to tune in to the games over at Peacock. Tune in to the Enjoy Basketball Hour Monday through Friday, because we still doing that 5 days a week. That is 12 o'clock Eastern time. And, show some love. Show some love to the boys. We got great shows going on. But let's talk about these games. I want to go straight to Christmas. Again, like a lot of the games on the slate the previous days, but Christmas is the way it goes, where you wake up. If you have kids, you wake up extremely early because the kids can't sleep. I think last year, my daughter woke us up at 6 a.m. to open presents. And I'm like, babe, give me another hour. You know what I'm saying? And she didn't. But you wake up, you open gifts with the fam, and then basketball starts. And this is a second year in a row where they're doing that Disney Channel animations where Karl Anthony Towns is a character, Lilo and Stitch is in it. You can just watch the game with Goofy and all of these dudes. And I think this year, I'm going to put it on the small monitor for the kids. I wonder if I could get my daughter into basketball by watching the Disney version of the NBA. I'll get back to y'all next week on that. But she does not like basketball. Oh, she don't like watching basketball. She likes playing basketball, which is like, I guess that's a silver lining of it all. She would watch football with me all day. She would even watch baseball, but for whatever reason, she does not get into basketball. And I'm wondering if this is the way she can do it. Anyway, I'm going to have her watching Karl Anthony Towns versus, Donovan Mitchell at 11 a.m. in the morning. And I'm excited for that game. It would be better if the Cavs were completely healthy, but as we know, they are not. If I had to pick a winner, I'm picking Knicks, but none of it, the regular season matters. We do got Wemby versus the Thunder again. I think they play against each other twice this week, and that's after they played against each other in the NBA Cup. So we get to really see the Spurs again against this elite level team. We get to see the Thunder again against a really good team, because right now I guess they're 6-2 versus teams that are above 500, a record you probably didn't expect for a team that started off 24-1. But it's a great game. I think they cooked for these first 2 games, and then we get to game 3, which is Mavericks versus Warriors. It's Steph Curry on Christmas, so we gotta love it. But boy, if there's nap potential anywhere across the board, it's this one. But I do like that the NBA, they did it a few years back with Wembanyama and everything, that they try to put the top guys, the top first overall pick guys, if it's warranted. I don't think we get no Zachary Reese, I say, last season. But put those top guys on Christmas Day so the young, impressionable fans can see the next up-and-coming dude in Cooper Flag. So it has good game potential, don't get me wrong. But if you were going to pick that nap up, which I feel like most people do because you're going to be eating, you're going to be with family, you're going to be up early, this is my nap game. And then if Steph Curry explodes for his 4 straight threes, wake me up. I'll be back into it. The next game we got is the Houston Rockets versus the LA Lakers. Really good potential matchup. This is crazy because the brother's been in the league for almost 20 years, or maybe 20 years, I don't know the number. I'm really, really loving Kevin Durant this season. Not that I haven't in this past, like last year I didn't love Kevin Durant. The year before that I didn't love Kevin Durant. In Brooklyn I did. But like this year, I'm loving Kevin Durant, man. The fact that he's like, I know he got into it with the Denver Nuggets people, so maybe that was the reason, but he's dancing on the way back for made threes, getting to the faces of players, talking his trash after games, going to the internet and talking trash. So I just loved Kevin Durant this season. What can I say? And I guess out of context, it's going to feel crazy because I know the Clippers of the world like, you love him this season. You ain't love him the last 20. I didn't love him with the Suns. But now he's going against the Lakers. Luka Doncic on Christmas. Was that last year? 2 years ago, he got injured on Christmas, so let's knock on wood that don't happen again because we love us some Luka Doncic. That game should be great. And you close it out with this matchup between the Nuggets and the Timberwolves. It is money. It's 9:30 Central Time that tips off, by the way. That's a late-ass game for Christmas, but we love it. Anthony Edwards going against a team that he beat twice in the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken, and then got to the conference final. So I think this is a really good slate. I think only one of the games I'm not excited about, but I'll still be there unless I fall asleep. Really good stuff, man. Really good stuff. I'm excited. The day before that, there's no basketball, and that's gonna feel weird. I know we did have a day with no basketball or like a week or so ago, but no basketball in December feels crazy. But it's the eve of it all, and this is probably where all NBA players really get off with the Christmas stuff. We're gonna have Christmas on Christmas Eve because we might be playing tomorrow. That's it. You let me know in the comment section of some teams that have good and or bad vibes. I guess you could have both, right, on any given night. And let me know what you think. If you enjoyed this episode, leave it a like, subscribe, tune in to the Enjoy Basketball Hour Monday through Friday, 12 o'clock Eastern Time on NBC Sports Now and Peacock.